if you're looking at the title right now, you probably already know what this one's going to be about. As far as like questions and stuff like that goes, I've probably been asked this simple question more often than anything else I think I've ever experienced in being a part of this activity. Is there going to be a fall marching season? I think I have an answer, and I've got some really weird, of course, really weird rationale for that answer, and I'm happy to share it with you as we move forward and as we try to deal with this whole virus thing. Good morning again, DanpodValdres again. It is a pleasure and an honor to talk to you, whether you're listening on the YouTube channel, whether you're on Apple Podcast or Google Podcast or Spotify or any of those lovely podcast apparati, whatever. I don't know. Whatever. Ignore me. Hosted by Anchor.fm. Thanks to Anchor.fm for hosting this little Danpodcast silly show that I do. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you all so much for supporting the podcast. Thank you all so much for supporting everything that I'm doing with work and whatnot. I really, really appreciate it. So, without further ado, drop my phone, sorry. Without further ado, what is the answer to this? Are we going to have a fall marching season? And I'll go ahead and just right off the bat, I'm not going to tease anything or anything like that. I don't like drawing things out. I'm sorry, I'm kidding. Are we going to have a fall marching season? Very legitimate question to ask. Are we going to have one? My answer, if you had to ask me right now, hey Dan, are we going to have a fall marching season? My answer, and I don't like sugarcoating things, maybe. Maybe, probably, maybe. So that's a maybe sandwich. So I'm going to serve you a maybe sandwich on this. Maybe, probably, maybe. It's kind of like the compliment sandwich, except, not as professional. Maybe, probably, maybe. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, one of the things we have to realize with this whole situation and how it's affected the marching arts is that perspective is everything. Perspective is everything on this. Think about what's happened. Think about what's happened in less than a month. WGI canceled half of its season and the World Championships. By the way, Guard World Championships were supposed to be this weekend. So I know a lot of performers are hurting right now. A lot of performers, not even the ones that were, of course, the ones that were supposed to go to Dayton, but the ones that had their final performances essentially taken from them because of something they had absolutely no control over. So that happened in less than a month. DCI canceled its entire season. Canceled everything. Everything. UIL pushed back a lot of stuff. Right now, as of this recording, no practices until May 4th. And guess what? The governor came out a couple days ago and said, hey, nobody's going back to school until May 4th, at least until May 4th. TMEA canceled, and I don't remember if I've talked about this or not, but TMEA canceled its honor band recordings. That we're essentially not doing them. Now, they did come up with some solutions for invited ensembles, which is something TMEA has explored. They did some exploration on that last year, and they want to continue it this year. I know there's some new requirements, so if you want to be an invited ensemble, it has nothing to do with honor band. But if you want to be an invited ensemble, you have time to submit recordings, and I think they're taking them from like the last 2 years or something like that. So good on TMEA for at least trying to salvage what they could. But TMEA, no honor band stuff. Still waiting on concert and sight reading stuff from UIL. Remember, UIL gave the jurisdiction on that to the different regions. It's a regions issue now. And there are some regions that have already said, hey, we got to cancel concert sight reading. So that's happened. There's a lot of stuff that's happened in less than a month. Think about that. WGI was the first domino to fall. And it was less than a month ago. How crazy is that? March 2020 is the slowest month I've ever experienced in my entire life. Now keep this in mind. Fun fact, when I was in 2nd grade, I had hernia surgery. I was out of school for 6 weeks. half the time I wasn't even allowed to sit down. I couldn't physically sit down for about a month of that. And I thought that was a slow time. Not being around friends, not being around, not being able to go outside and go play basketball or, ride a bike or anything like that. I thought that was slow then. This is 1,000 times slower. Now keep in mind, I work for HEB. And everything changes almost on a daily basis. My job has changed several times in the last less than a month. And even with that fast-paced, even going hectic, even going, gotta get that work done. And hey, there's a new process. And hey, there's that. Even with all that stuff going on, March 2020 was the slowest month of my life. It almost feels trivial to even think about a fall marching season at this point. And I'm not saying it to shame anybody or anything like that. It just feels weird to even ask the question. Because there are people out there that are like, hey man, we're just trying to survive. Hey, I had to close my business. Hey, I had to do all this stuff. There's so many people hurting right now. There's so many people hurting right now. That it almost feels trivial to ask, hey, are we going to have a fall marching season? Now with that being said, there's a lot that has to happen between now and August 1st. And I'm just pointing out that date just because it's a universal, that's like something that's circled, italicized, bold lettered in all of our calendars, especially for us nerds, especially for us who love the marching arts. There's so much that has to happen between then and August 1st. We still need to figure out whether students are going to go back to school this semester. It's still up in the air. I think I saw Austin ISD say, hey, the schools are closed indefinitely. As far as San Antonio goes, everybody's still like, hey, we got to wait till May 4th and then we'll reevaluate. That's the thing about this whole virus thing. It requires constant reevaluation from people who run business, from people who run state organizations, and all that stuff. It requires constant reevaluation. You can't just put a hardline date a month from now because nobody knows what the heck's going on. Nobody knows. Kids, your parents are doing the best they can. Parents, your kids are doing the best they can. This is uncharted waters for everybody. Nobody really knows what they're doing right now. I don't say that to be insulting or anything like that. That's just how it is. But we're all doing the best we can. We're all trying to be as close-knit a community as we possibly can given guidelines and restrictions and whatnot. There's so much that has to happen. We got to figure out if kids are going back to school this semester. We got to figure out what summer programs are going down. I just read it today. Texas State University, their music camp canceled. And that stuff wasn't supposed to go down until June. And I would imagine that other music camps are going to follow suit, especially in this state. So, it's just, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic because I selfishly want to see those performances. I want to see you perform. I want to see you go out there and just destroy the stadium. But at the same time, being an adult, in age, I get, in age, yeah. Personality, suspect. But this sort of thing just, I don't think we're going to have a hard line answer on this until months from now. Just because with the way with the way things are going, it just requires constant reevaluation. Constantly saying, okay, well, we got to do this, and okay, and then a week later, oh, never mind, you got to do this, or no, we need to add this. There's so much going on. There's just so much going on. So we got to figure out what we're going to do with school first. Then we got to figure out with what summer programs are doing. Then we got to figure out if the August 1st date is still going to hold. Are we going to be able to start things on August 1st? Or are they going to... And here's the other thing. People have camps before August 1st. People have music camps. Remember the rules. You can't learn drill until August 1st. You can do music camps. Not a problem. Are those music camps going to be affected? With the way things are going, yeah, I think music programs could be affected. Now, granted, you can distribute the music. You can give it to the students. You can have them work on it. You can have them, do pass-offs through smart music and whatnot. But like I said before, like I said with the whole DCI thing, there's something to be said about getting everybody in that room, getting the whole ensemble in there, and really finding out what you're about. That sense of community can't be replaced. So that's going to be a psychological hurdle people are going to have to jump over, or hurdle over, whatever. Is August 1st, is the UIL or is the state going to say, hey, we don't want any practices before August 1st? Nothing, not even football. And that's the other thing. Is marching band going to be the only thing that's affected during this, as we go through the summer? Here's what I think the canary in the coal mine is going to be. If you don't understand that reference, coal miners, back in the day, they'd go into the coal mine, they'd take a little yellow bird, a little canary with them. They'd go down to the coal mine. If the canary died, they knew that there was too much carbon monoxide or poisonous gases in the mine, and they knew they had to get out immediately. What's going to be the kill switch? What's going to be the canary in the coal mine that's going to determine whether we have a fall 2020 season or not? I think I figured it out. The canary in the coal mine for the fall 2020 season, the thing that's going to determine, or the organization that's going to determine whether we have a fall marching season for the year 2020, is going to be the Indianapolis Colts. And some of you probably just turned off the podcast right now. I'm actually serious about this. Let me explain. Indianapolis Colts, professional football team, Indianapolis, Indiana, Lucas Oil Stadium. If football teams are allowed to congregate, they're allowed to practice, and I'm not just telling, not just the NFL saying, oh, let's get them out there and let's roll the dice. I'm talking like the government and state and local health organizations saying, yes, you guys can go back to work and you can practice. If the public is allowed to gather in large groups again, if they're allowed to be at practices and facilities and whatnot, if they're allowed to congregate in large groups in stadiums, then heck yeah, we're going to have a fall marching season. But until we're given that guideline, until we're given the go-ahead on that, everything is on the table. And that's just logic. That doesn't have anything to do with optimism or anything like that. I mean, if people can't congregate, how are we supposed to have these events? I mean, there were some. I mean, look at how sports has handled this a month ago. Oh, we'll just have empty stadiums, and then only essential people are going to be in there. Like in this case, flow marching, the judges, event staff, the bands themselves. How would you even coordinate that? They tried to do that in sports. They tried to say, "Oh no, we're cool. We're just gonna have like an empty stadium." And guess what? That lasted about 3.5 seconds before everything got shut down. So until we're given the guidelines on that, we really don't know. I'm optimistic. I say maybe, and that's why I say maybe, probably maybe, because I'm very hopeful that people are going to try to abide by the guidelines that are set by local and state and national health organizations, and they're saying, hey, this is what you need to do. You need to stay inside. You need to do this. You need to cover your face. You need to wear gloves. You need to eat a Snickers bar, whatever the hell you need to do in order to stay safe. I'm optimistic that we can quote unquote flatten the curve. I hate saying that, by the way. And we can just kind of get this under control. That way we can get back to a normal way of life. Another thing to consider is, let's say everything gets taken care of in June. Hey, we're going to have a fall marching season. guess what? Guess what? We were able to take care of everything. We have some sort of treatment thing, but, other than that, yeah, everybody can go back to their normal lives. How many of you would actually go back to your normal lives? How many people are going to be skittish about going into a stadium in the fall around 5,000, 10,000 people, especially here in the state of Texas, being elbow to elbow with people? How many of you are going to be comfortable with that? There would be a lot of people. Of course, the performers are like, heck yeah, we want to get it. I know the performers. I've talked to a bunch of you recently. You just want to get out there and perform. You're tired of playing your horn for no audience in your room. You're tired of playing it for a computer. You want to get out there. You want to hear the crowd roar, and you want to hear them cheer, and you want to be out there in, 100-degree weather, sweating it out with your friends. I get it. But how many people would be really skittish about going back and being out in public and being out with a ton of people again? A lot of people would be like, I don't know if I want that. Maybe I'll just watch it at home. That's another thing to consider. There's so much that needs to happen before then. Like I said, I'm optimistic. I'm hoping that the cancellation of, the whole Texas State music program for their little summer music academy or whatever the heck they want to call it, I'm hoping that's just a precautionary thing instead of like, no, this thing's going to get worse and we need to keep people off campus. Another thing to consider, Music for All Summer Symposium. A big draw was, the whole marching band track for that. And one of the big draws was that Carolina Crown was the core in residence. Well, DCI doesn't exist this year. So how is that going to work out? I didn't tell you all this, but yeah, I applied to be on Team Swag again. I did it 15 years ago. And it was one of those pivotal moments that changed my life. And I was hoping to go back this year. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I don't have any inside information on that. I'm hopeful that it happens. I would love to take a week off and go to Ball State University and hang out with a bunch of nerds. It would be fantastic. Nothing would make me happier. But I'm not sure if that's going to happen. So, are we going to have a fall marching season? Maybe, probably, maybe. Like I said, I'm optimistic on it because selfishly, I want to see you all perform. And parents, I know parents are they're heartbroken right now. Because they don't know how the rest of the semester is going to play out. They don't know if they're going to be able to go to their kids' graduation. And I know in my family situation, that was a very, very big deal and a very personal deal for them. I think things are going to be real different in the fall. I'm hopeful we get a season underway. But I don't know. And another thing to consider, school districts. How many school districts are going to say, okay, you can travel within state, but we don't want you going out of state for the rest of the year. Even if things get cleared up, let's say within the next month or two. What will school districts do? Will they pull the plug on out-of-state trips? That's a possibility. Like I said, when you're dealing with something like this that's so fluid and processes and guidelines change from week to week, everything has to be on the table. And I even hesitated, and you heard it in my voice. I hesitated to even say anything like that. But it's true. I mean, there may be some districts that say, hey, you know what, we're pulling the plug. You can't go out of state because we don't want to risk your health or whatever. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I don't think it'll happen, but again, you got to put everything on the table, just like the whole DCI situation. Every option was exhausted. Modified tour, going forward with the entire season like nothing happened, canceling the whole tour. Everything was in play. And that's exactly what needs to happen in the fall 2020 season. We'll see how it goes. It stinks. Trust me, I'm aching right now to watch some live performances. But it's out of my control. It's out of our control. What can we do? We can just keep moving forward and keep trying to be nice to each other. That's it. That's all that really counts. We'll see what happens. But like I said, I'm optimistic. It is a long time away. Season doesn't technically start until September. August 1st, obviously, is the first day we can learn drill. I'm thinking, if you ask me honestly, and you want me to be super honest with you, I think we have a full marching season, but the summer preparation is going to be cut down dramatically. I think it's going to be cut down dramatically. I think you're going to have fewer music camps to go to, at TCU or Texas State or whatever music camp you decide to go to. As far as actual high school bands getting together and doing music camps, I could see that being shut down until, hey, you know what? Go to August 1st. And we don't want you on campus until then. It's going to make for a very interesting season. And if you thought August 1st, and regardless of what happens, regardless if everything clears up in a month or two, or they cancel everything until August 1st, regardless of what happens, when August 1st hits, you're going to see the most inspired group of young musicians I think you've ever seen in your life. Because everybody's tired of being inside. Everybody's tired of playing for a computer. Everybody's tired of that. They just want to be on stage and perform. You want to be on the football field and perform. I get it. I've been there, man. It's going to be a race. It's going to be a race the entire way, and it's going to be a marathon at full speed, because there's no room to get tired, to doubt yourself, or anything like that. It's going to be one of the most interesting seasons we've ever experienced. I'm hopeful that it'll get completed, start to finish. But like I said, everything's got to be on the table. I think I'm done here. I am going to enjoy the weekend, because this week was pretty hectic. And keep following me at DanpodValdres on Instagram. Follow TexasFans.com Facebook page. We'll have updates, breaking news, all that fun stuff whenever we get news about whatever marching arts stuff comes down. Until then, I'll talk to you soon. And please stay safe out there. And I really appreciate you all, and I love you all so much. Take care. Adios. Bye-bye.